Heart disease is the #1 cause of death worldwide. And yet, most people don't realize that some of the simplest ways to protect their heart are sitting right in their kitchen. Not in a prescription bottle, not in an expensive supplement, but in something as small and ordinary as a handful of nuts. It sounds almost too simple, right? Because when people think about heart health, they imagine strict diets, cutting out everything they enjoy, or making drastic lifestyle changes that feel overwhelming and hard to maintain. But what if improving your heart health didn't have to start with something extreme? What if it could start with something small, something natural, something you could actually stick with every day? Nuts are one of the most powerful foods when it comes to supporting heart health. But here's where it gets confusing. For years, people were told to avoid fats. That fat was the enemy. So naturally, many began to avoid nuts because they're high in fat. And even today, that belief still lingers. But the truth is, not all fats are the same. In fact, the right kinds of fats can actually protect your heart, support your blood vessels, and improve your overall health. And certain nuts are packed with exactly those kinds of nutrients. If you've ever worried about your cholesterol levels, your blood pressure, or your long-term health, this is something you need to understand. Because the choices you make every day, even something as simple as what you snack on, can quietly shape your future. In this video, we're going to break down the top 5 nuts for heart health, backed by science, and show you exactly how to include them in your daily routine in a way that actually makes a difference. If you look at the way most people eat today, it's not surprising that heart-related issues have become so common. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease are no longer rare conditions. They've become part of everyday life for millions of people. And what makes this even more concerning is that many of these problems develop slowly, without obvious warning signs at first. A big part of the issue comes down to diet. Modern eating habits are heavily centered around convenience. Processed foods, fast meals, and packaged snacks have taken the place of whole, natural foods. These options are quick and satisfying, but they often contain unhealthy fats, excessive sodium, and very little of the nutrients your body actually needs. One of the biggest problems is the type of fats people consume. Many diets are high in saturated fats and trans fats, which can raise levels of LDL, often referred to as bad cholesterol. Over time, this can lead to buildup in the arteries, making it harder for blood to flow properly. At the same time, many people are not getting enough of the healthy fats their body actually needs, fats that support heart function and help maintain balance. Another issue is the lack of fiber in the average diet. Fiber plays an important role in helping reduce cholesterol levels and supporting overall cardiovascular health. Without enough of it, your body has a harder time regulating key processes that keep your heart functioning well. What makes this situation even more complicated is the misunderstanding around fat itself. For years, people were told that eating fat was harmful, so many began avoiding foods like nuts altogether. Instead, they turned to low-fat or fat-free products, which are often highly processed and filled with added sugars or artificial ingredients. In trying to avoid one problem, they unintentionally created another. The result is a cycle where the body is constantly working against an imbalance. Too many harmful inputs, and not enough of the protective nutrients it needs. And because these changes happen gradually, many people don't realize the impact until it becomes more serious. But here's the encouraging part. Supporting your heart doesn't have to mean completely changing your lifestyle overnight. Sometimes, it starts with adding the right foods back into your routine. Foods that work with your body, not against it. And that brings us to something simple but incredibly powerful: nuts. To understand why they can make such a difference, we need to look at what's actually inside them. To understand why nuts can have such a powerful effect on heart health, it helps to look beyond the surface. Most people think of nuts as just a snack, something crunchy, convenient, and maybe a little indulgent. But in reality, nuts are one of the most nutrient-dense whole foods you can eat, and their impact on the body goes much deeper than most people realize. At the core of their benefits are healthy fats, specifically monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. These are very different from the harmful trans fats and excessive saturated fats often found in processed foods. Healthy fats actually play a protective role in your body. They help lower levels of LDL, often called bad cholesterol, while supporting or even increasing HDL, the good cholesterol. This balance is essential because it directly affects how your blood flows through your arteries and how much buildup occurs over time. When LDL cholesterol becomes too high, it can start to accumulate along the walls of your arteries, forming plaques that make it harder for blood to pass through. Over time, this can lead to serious problems like heart attacks or strokes. But when you include foods rich in healthy fats, like nuts, you help your body maintain a healthier balance, reducing that risk. Fiber is another important component found in nuts, and its role goes far beyond digestion. Soluble fiber, in particular, helps bind to cholesterol in your digestive system and remove it from your body before it can enter your bloodstream. This means that regularly consuming fiber-rich foods can contribute to lower cholesterol levels over time. It's a subtle process, but one that builds up in a meaningful way with consistency. Nuts also contain plant sterols, natural compounds that structurally resemble cholesterol. Because of this similarity, they can compete with cholesterol for absorption in your digestive system, effectively reducing how much cholesterol your body takes in. This is one of the reasons why nuts are often recommended as part of heart-healthy diets. Another key factor is antioxidants. Your body is constantly exposed to oxidative stress, which can damage cells and contribute to inflammation. Chronic inflammation is closely linked to many heart-related conditions. The antioxidants found in nuts help counteract this process, protecting your blood vessels and supporting long-term cardiovascular health. It's not something you feel immediately, but over time, it plays a crucial role in keeping your system functioning properly. Minerals like magnesium and potassium also deserve attention. Magnesium helps relax blood vessels, which can improve circulation and support normal blood pressure levels. Potassium helps balance sodium in your body, another important factor in maintaining healthy blood pressure. Together, these minerals support the physical function of your heart and vascular system. When you look at all of these components together, healthy fats, fiber, plant sterols, antioxidants, and essential minerals, you start to see why nuts are so effective. They don't just target one aspect of heart health. They support multiple systems at once. And this is where whole foods have a clear advantage over processed snacks or isolated supplements. When you eat nuts, you're not getting a single nutrient in isolation. You're getting a combination of compounds that work together in a natural balance, improving how your body absorbs and uses them. This synergy is difficult to replicate in processed products. It's also helpful to compare nuts to the kinds of snacks many people eat on a daily basis. Chips, crackers, and sugary snacks often provide empty calories, energy without meaningful nutrition. They can spike your blood sugar, contribute to inflammation, and leave you feeling unsatisfied shortly after eating. Nuts, on the other hand, provide sustained energy, support satiety, and deliver real nutritional value. However, there's one important thing to keep in mind. Nuts are calorie-dense, which means they contain a significant amount of energy in a small portion. This isn't a problem. In fact, it's part of what makes them so effective. But it does mean that portion control matters. You don't need large amounts to see benefits. A small handful per day is often enough. So when you understand how nuts work inside your body, the picture becomes much clearer. These are not just snacks. They are tools, simple, natural tools that can support your heart in a very real way. Now the next step is knowing which nuts offer the most benefits and how you can include them in your daily routine in a way that's both practical and sustainable. Now that you understand how nuts support your heart, the next step is knowing which ones to focus on and how to actually use them in your daily life. Because not all nuts offer the same benefits, and the way you include them matters more than you might think. Let's start with almonds. Almonds are one of the most widely studied nuts when it comes to heart health, and for good reason. They are rich in monounsaturated fats, which help reduce LDL cholesterol levels while supporting overall cardiovascular balance. They also contain a significant amount of vitamin E, an antioxidant that helps protect your cells from oxidative stress. Adding almonds into your routine is simple. You can eat them as a snack, add them to oatmeal, or even slice them over salads. They're easy, versatile, and a great starting point if you're just building the habit. Next are walnuts, which are unique because of their high content of omega-3 fatty acids. These are the same types of fats often associated with fish, but walnuts provide a plant-based option. Omega-3s are known for their anti-inflammatory properties, which play a key role in protecting your heart over time. Walnuts also have a slightly softer texture and a distinct flavor that works well in both sweet and savory dishes. You can add them to salads, mix them into yogurt, or simply enjoy them on their own as a snack. Pistachios are another excellent option, especially when it comes to improving cholesterol levels and supporting blood vessel function. They contain a combination of healthy fats, fiber, and antioxidants that work together to support circulation. One interesting thing about pistachios is that they often come in shells, which naturally slows down how quickly you eat them. This can help with portion control without requiring extra effort. They're a great snack on their own, or can be added to meals for extra texture. Then there are cashews, which are slightly different from the others but still offer valuable benefits. Cashews are a good source of magnesium, a mineral that supports muscle relaxation and helps maintain healthy blood pressure levels. They also provide a creamy texture, which makes them useful in cooking. You can add them to stir-fries, blend them into sauces, or simply eat them as a snack. While they are slightly lower in fiber compared to some other nuts, they still contribute to a balanced approach. Finally, Brazil nuts. These are particularly rich in selenium, a powerful antioxidant that supports overall cellular health. Selenium plays a role in reducing oxidative stress and supporting your immune system, both of which are connected to long-term heart health. However, with Brazil nuts, less is more. Because they are so high in selenium, you only need 1 or 2 per day to get the benefit. This makes them unique compared to other nuts that can be consumed in slightly larger portions. As you start incorporating these nuts into your routine, there are a few simple guidelines that can make a big difference. Choosing unsalted varieties helps reduce excess sodium, which is important for blood pressure. Avoiding nuts that are heavily roasted in oils or coated in sugar keeps the focus on their natural benefits. And paying attention to portion size ensures you get the benefits without over-consuming calories. What makes all of this powerful is not any single choice, but the consistency behind it. You don't need to eat all 5 types every day. You can rotate them, mix them, and find what works best for your taste and routine. The key is to make it something you can maintain. because when something becomes part of your daily habit, it stops feeling like an effort, and that's when it starts making a real difference in your health. When you look at everything we've talked about, it becomes clear that taking care of your heart doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require extreme diets or cutting out everything you enjoy. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as what you choose to snack on each day. These 5 nuts are not just convenient, they're powerful tools that can support your heart naturally when used consistently. You don't have to do everything at once. Just start with one. Add a small handful of almonds to your morning routine, or swap out a processed snack for walnuts or pistachios. It's these small, repeated choices that build into something meaningful over time. I'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite nut, and which one are you going to start adding into your routine? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more simple, science-based tips to support your health in a way that actually fits your life, make sure to subscribe. Because the habits you build today are what shape your health tomorrow.